Lyle, I know you're not one to take credit, but Town Manager Michael Borg, when asked about the $500,000 grant, said, "You don't want to talk to me, you talk to Lyle Pirnie." How did it come about?
Well, the town has been dealing with the Courtois site or the Bolter Farm. They're interchangeable really since 1988 when we acquired it. It was a tax taking for lack of payment of taxes. And the first cleanup grants were written in 2015. Joanne Cathcart, who was the assistant town administrator at the time, worked with Ransom Engineering, who's the qualified engineering professional organization, to write grants to test. They drilled about 50 dry wells and tested for volatile organic compounds, VOCs. And surprisingly, they found there weren't a lot, but one of the things that happened over time is that a garage in the front of the Courtois site the vehicles that were parked in it had leaked petroleum. So we applied in 2018 for an federal EPA cleanup grant for $200,000 to clean up petroleum and take down the garage, and we were awarded that. So several people went out to the site after that happened to look at what else needed to be done, and way back on the back end of the site, the part that abuts the Rhode Island border, there's a lagoon actually that's fenced off right now that is filled with some petroleum, some unknown chemicals that have leached down from an auto junkyard in Rhode Island. So, and I wasn't there when that happened. Mike Gallagher was, and people from Ransom were. And they went with a contractor, and the contractor said we could probably clean this up for $500,000. So the EPA had already invested $200 in part of the cleanup. We applied for the grant last October and November, and as you know, we got the award earlier this week. So what was written in the paper is a little misleading. It's not to clean up the entire site. It's to clean up that portion that's back against the Rhode Island border. At that point in time, to the best of our knowledge, the site will be completely clean. In order for it to be put into production and this gets a little confusing, but in order for anything to be built on it, developers have told us that we have to be able to run a sewer line to the site. And the closest sewer line is actually the terminus of the Attleboro sewer line, which is on May Street. So we have been asked by the state Department of Environmental Protection and the state Mass Development Organization to submit a grant that will be capped at $100,000 to ask for an engineering study to determine how to run a sewer line from its current terminus to the Courtois site. Once we have that study done, we'll have some idea of how much it will cost to run the sewer line out there. And then we can either ask for long-term financing, bonding, or something to run the line. The other possibility is that the site will probably support roughly 50 houses if that's what we decided to build there, and that's the way it's zoned right now. But and it's possible that a very large septic field could be put out there. So part of what we're asking the state for is the money to support a soil mechanics study to determine whether or not that soil will perk sufficiently to allow a large septic field. So there's a lot of work still to be done, but the $500,000 will take care of all the cleanups that need to be done. It's one step in the process.
So if the cleanup is done, is there a guarantee that the garage in Rhode Island won't seep more in there, or has that already been taken care of?
Well, that's an interesting question. There are separately, and a long way away from anything we can do, there have been lawsuits, there have been cases in the Rhode Island court system dealing with the auto parts dealer in Rhode Island, and there have been lawsuits. It's gone to Rhode Island Supreme Court twice, and I tried to read all the cases, but they're more confusing than my non-attorney mind can absorb. The simple answer is we probably can't guarantee that, but we're pretty sure that when we apply the $500,000, the site will be at that moment in time clean. And we also feel that because it's taken so long for all that material to leach down from Rhode Island, if anything further occurs, it would take a long, long time for that to happen. So once that's done and the sewer lines run, the site will be in a position to be sold.
Which is additional tax revenue for the town of North Attleboro.
Yeah, now the process is that it has to be auctioned, and there's an auction process that the town treasurer, Chris Sweet, has to administer. And again, all that has to happen in the future. But it seems like it's a long, painful process, and it is. But things have to be done in the correct manner. And if everything goes according to plan, the worst that could possibly happen from the standpoint of impacting the town is some sort of bonding for the sewer line to run out to that area.
Well, congratulations, sir. Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you. One step at a time. That's how we try and do things.